simulate our feelings without words. Endgame.
We've seen this movie almost a week ago.
Yeah.
I'm still crying.
We haven't had a whole lot
dying.
of time to record podcasts since they're long, and this one's gonna be especially long. After Infinity War, we went straight to record a podcast, and this time we didn't have that opportunity. Unfortunately, I'm gonna move this a little bit closer.
Yeah.
If you could move some of those things out of the way.
Anyway,
Ignore us moving the microphone.
We're gonna tell you
We're professionals.
Now. We're gonna tell you right now, even though you should have already read the title and known this, but all we're doing is spoiling Endgame for however long this video ends up. It's not going to be in a chronological order because our brains can't focus that bad. So literally just don't watch it if you haven't seen it, because we might just, even if you've seen part of it, which I don't know why the fuck you would have seen part of it but not all of it, but we'd hop right out the gate, start talking about the ending or some shit. I don't know, man.
Okay, let's not go straight to the end.
Yeah, let's not go straight
to the end. The end is the most
the
traumatic part. To build to that.
Savor it. No,
there's nothing to be savored there. There is only pain.
Yeah. So anyway, Endgame came out on Friday. We're recording this on the following Thursday.
We
It'll
saw
probably
it
get uploaded a week after it came out.
We saw it on Sunday.
Yeah.
At 8:45 in the morning, because that is the only showing our theater had that still had decent seats.
And they had 20 showings that day.
I thought it was 18.
Something like that.
They don't even usually have showings of movies at 8:45.
No, they don't. Usually the earliest one is at 10, but they added extra showings.
Just to cram
just for this movie, which has already reached the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time. And it hasn't even, it did that after its opening weekend. It hasn't even been out
coming for every other movie ever.
Just the fact that when Marvel was first starting out, nobody knew these characters or gave a shit about them.
Except for, comic book nerds.
Yeah, or, Marvel actually had to sell some of their assets. That's why Sony owned Spider-Man, because, they sold the X-Men, they sold Spider-Man. Nobody even wanted to buy characters like Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah, they couldn't
and
find
Thor.
people to buy Iron Man.
They couldn't find
no
people
one
who
wanted
these characters.
No one wanted the Avengers.
And now it is the biggest movie ever.
They're iconic. They're gonna
exist.
Be
Justice League could never.
They're gonna be.
It literally can't.
They tried and they couldn't. It's literally gonna be what, movies like Star Wars are to the present in, 20 years, probably.
It's gonna be... It's just... There's no
actually,
other
in 20
movie
years, they'll probably
that.
Still be going on.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Over the past, I think today actually marks 11 years since the first Iron movie came out. Iron Man movie came out.
That's an alternate title, I
will kill you on the spot. So for the past 11 years, they have made 22 movies that are all... It's technically one continuous movie series.
It's technically a series.
You don't have to watch all of them.
But they are technically a series.
They are technically a series, and every single one of them is good, and every single one of them did well in the box office and did well critically. Even though there was, a lot of people that didn't like Iron Man 2 or whatever, they still did well.
And most people won't, there's very few people who they're total garbage. Most people are
Yeah. And it's name one other thing that's made 22 movies and none of them are bad.
I saw a thing that was
no one has.
That was all Marvel movie trailers, and it was literally an hour long.
Legit.
The amount of trailers they have is enough to be the length of a movie by definition.
It's so whack. And, like, you know, there's always the DC versus Marvel debate, which is not what this podcast is about, even though you probably know who we stand. Man of Steel was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Which is the point. DC hasn't even made as many movies as Marvel has, and has already had, like, 4 times the amount of, like, movies where people are like, that was bad. That was a bad fucking movie. You should be ashamed.
We're not talking about DC. That's not the point. DC is... I haven't seen many of them.
Shazam was good. Shazam's the best DC movie I've seen. Oops.
Anyway, this is about Endgame.
This is about Endgame.
This is about Marvel.
I'm just talking about how this is, like, the most iconic thing that has happened in, like, movie-wise, in the past, like, ever decade. Especially the past decade, except for maybe The Force Awakens, except it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that.
Yeah, The Force Awakens is beautiful, and I love it, but it's not, like... Like, The Avengers is called the most ambitious crossover in history, and then Infinity War was basically just like, hold my beer.
And then let's take the most ambitious crossover in history, and then cross it over with literally every other character we have.
And then in Endgame, they were like, let's throw a couple more into for good measure.
Just, you know, just for shits and giggles, am I right?
Like, they don't talk, no one talked about Infinity War and Endgame the way they said, like, you know, Avengers, like, as if it's a crossover, because at that point, it's like, it's not even a crossover, it's just the MCU.
Basically, what we're saying is that this movie is the greatest thing in the history of anything ever.
Cool. Now that we've got that.
So, yeah. This is gonna be... I'm gonna have so many things that I forget to say in this video, and I have 2 pages of bullet points written down.
I'm definitely gonna forget. So, we're just gonna have to do, like, a part 2.
Part 2 that's just all the things about Endgame we forgot to say. But yeah.
You're getting 2 podcasts this week to make up for a failure, and also because many things happened. By many things I mean 2. But
yeah. God, it's all gonna be out of order, like we said. We just kind of wrote things down as they came to our brain, so there's no chronological logic to this.
This is gonna be garbage. This is a garbage podcast.
But, like, we're doing it, so fuck you. Basically, the first thing I wrote down, I really eased myself into it, was Captain Marvel got the pixie cut we fucking deserve.
I know. It was like, when I was watching the trailer for Captain Marvel, I was like, give her a pixie cut, you cowards. And then in Endgame, they were like,
here's
yeet.
your pixie cut.
Yeet
like,
her hair off.
boy.
And I was like, alright. Yeah.
We stand. And just... God, I've cried over this movie like 6 times in the past week. I cried like 3 times while watching the movie, and then 3 times just thinking about it.
Fun fact, I don't cry very often at, like, media, like, books, movies, TV shows, whatever. This movie has become now one of 4 movies and TV shows to actually make me cry real tears, like an actual, not like teary-eyed, like an actual tear came out of my eyes.
What are the other 3?
The other 3 are Princess Tutu,
Big mood.
Doctor Who,
Yeah.
and that one movie, The Imitation Game, which really doesn't have business being one of those movies that made me cry, but it
me up, man.
It's just a one-off historical film about the dude who invented the computer, and it really has no business
It's a sad movie.
It has no business being on this list, but it is now, so, like...
I used to be like that and, like, not cry at, like, anything, but now I cry at everything all the time. So it's not like I feel more sad about things, it's just now my body's reaction to them is to cry. Like, I cried, like, 4 times watching Love, Simon. Probably.
Okay, that was one that got me, like, teary-eyed. But that was, like, in a much happier way.
Those were happy tears. These were not happy tears. These were sad tears.
So that's your final warning to get the fuck out of here if you don't want spoilers if you haven't already.
These are distressed tears.
Sadness
tears of emotional turmoil. I also wrote, Rat is the true hero of the MCU.
You know, that's very fitting for Ant-Man, for him to get out of the quantum realm via Rat randomly pressing buttons.
Very on brand for him.
Also, one thing I forgot to write down was that, like, the first... Like, after, like, the opening scenes, which were, like, just right after Infinity War and everything was garbage, the first, like, half of this movie was, like, way more lighthearted than I thought it would be. Like, like, Infinity War was, like, they had some funny moments, but it was mostly just, like, doom and gloom. Like, you had the hanging over of, like, everyone's going to die hanging over your head. But with Endgame, it was like, oh, this is, like, nice. This is, like, a normal...
Well, like, they're doing things. They're going to win. Everything's fine.
They can't not win. They already had their, like, one subversion of that. They can't do it again.
They're doing their shit. They're executing their plan. They're cracking jokes. They're a team again. Everything is fine. You know?
Like, it was nice. It was like, I was having a good time.
I
could almost forget that the ending, occasionally my brain would be like, by the end, it's not gonna be like this. And I was like, yeah, probably not. I was right. It does, around halfway through, it takes a hard left into sadness of it.
Oh, God.
That one part of it is good. I like that.
Mm-hmm. The opening scene... though, was pretty good. I like that it started out with Clint.
Yeah, they just gotta slap us right in the face with the ending of Infinity War again.
Yeah, because, like, he wasn't in Infinity War, so it was like, was he doing? Trying to live his goddamn life, and now his family's
he deserves. But then now his family's dead. He didn't deserve that.
Edgy Clint is great, though. Don't even,
Clint.
You can fight me about
the murder part wasn't cool, but I like his tattoos and mohawk and stuff.
I'm just such a bitch for, like, edgy character design.
Listen.
Like, the more punk rock / emo someone looks, the more I'm just gonna be like, I'm love, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, wholeheartedly, I mean, the
you should
murder
keep
thing,
it. It's a strong look.
The murder thing, not cool, but, like, the mohawk and sleeve tattoos, solid look.
You should definitely keep them. They're great.
Also, someone pointed out that apparently he's never been actually called Hawkeye in the movies.
Oh, yeah.
They always just call him Clint or, like, Barton.
Yeah.
Or, like, Agent Barton. But he called his daughter Hawkeye after she, like, shot an arrow, which, you know, is probably like, haha. Which, I mean, establishes that his name is Hawkeye and people know that he's called Hawkeye, but just... his daughter was called Hawkeye more times than he was.
That was a cute scene, though.
That was cute.
That was quickly ruined.
Yeah, it was cute and then it wasn't.
When they all died. Because he doesn't deserve that.
He doesn't.
It was very unfortunate, too, because it's like 50%, but it was like his whole family.
I know! That
Which,
was
like,
big.
I guess statistically, like, you know, that's possible because it's 50% of people on Earth.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess being related to an Avenger just hikes that number up a thick, like, you from 50-50 to, like, 75.
Yeah, but it was like, you know, Scott Lang's family didn't die. Like, no one in... It's like, the thing about 50-50 is that some people lose their whole family and some people don't lose anybody.
Yeah, they did try to, like, balance it out that way. They weren't like, unfortunately, in a tragic coincidence, everyone who knows any Avenger in any capacity has died, despite the fact that it was really supposed to only be 50% of people.
Yeah. But yeah, that true hero of the MCU, very on brand.
I like how confused Scott was.
He was so confused.
He was like,
what
why am I in here now? Where is everyone?
He kind of picked up on what was happening pretty fast.
I mean, I guess they probably still to explain exactly what happened to him, but he did pick up on the fact of giant global disaster when he, found the memorial that had some of his friends' names on it.
He's just a wonderful man.
But him and Cassie.
I'm
glad his
I
daughter
wanted to
wasn't
see
dead.
more with them.
I know, they
because
didn't have time.
Yeah, they
3 hours
time,
they still didn't.
I also want to know, because, Cassie looked straight up like she was, 17 years old. It's
I was
how old was she? Because, she was probably, at most, I guess if she was 10, then when he reunited with her, she would be 15, and I guess I could buy that, but I thought she was, 7.
Yeah,
and she looked like
5.
20 5 years later, and I was like, yo.
5 years later, she's like a solid 16 years old. I was like, what the hell happened there? He had a growth spurt. But yeah, I guess if she was 10 or 9, maybe she'd be 14. I'd only buy 9 is the oldest she could have been. Though I might not. Though I feel like I don't have a good concept of what children.
I'm trying to figure. I'm thinking about what I looked like when I was 10.
I looked pretty small.
She could have been 10.
I feel like I'm just bad at judging how young.
She could have been 10. Probably not 11.
I'm over it. Now thinking back to what I looked like in 5th grade, I realize I am now overestimating how old the 10-year-olds look. Yeah, she could have been 10, and then that would make her 15, and then that would be not super unreasonable.
Yeah, I just want.
So it was a little jarring, but I guess it's not like that.
Yeah, I just want to just want more I want more info on them.
Well, there'll probably be another Ant-Man movie since they seem to giving people movies in 3s. So.
Yeah, you're right. So, on to the big plot, the major thing that happened in the movie. They travel through time.
We forgot before Scott comes out of the quantum or whatever, they kill Thanos 10 minutes into the movie.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That was a thing. We forgot about it. I wrote it down and I forgot about it.
I wrote it way later.
I was so shook. I was like, what if they just rolled the credits right now? But they just prank us. It was the ultimate prank, and they just kill him 10 minutes in and then roll credits. But
I know, it was too bad Captain Marvel wasn't in Infinity War, because they literally just squared up and they were like, oh no, everyone's dead, and then Captain Marvel was like, well, let's go kill the bitch then, and they were like, and she was just like, let's fucking go, bitches, and then they just square up and then slaughter him in 2 minutes.
I like her, I'll listen to her.
They literally slaughter this bitch in 2 minutes. And it was so funny, because in the theater, the dude who was sitting next to me was just like, that was a short movie.
And then I was just like, what the hell's gonna happen for the rest of it? Who's gonna be the main... And then obviously it was them trying to undo what was done. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But who's gonna be the main antagonist? Plot twist, it was still Thanos.
Time travel!
Always fun. That was so, the whole thing with Nebula and the time travel was just come on, they were so close to having a almost flawless plan.
I know.
So close. So close to this whole thing going off without a hitch, no complications. But then, of course, they had to send Nebula back to where Nebula was. They really should have, they were like, okay, we've got to, it was the one stupid thing they did, because it's we gotta be careful, because these are our own timelines. So we're gonna send everyone to places they were at the time, instead of, mixing it up and, let's send... So we were all in, New York, and, the Avengers were in New York when the times when, the stones were, so we're just gonna send the Avengers there. We're gonna send Nebula into space, we're gonna send Thor to Asgard when we could just shuffle those around a bit and avoid complications like that.
Yeah, but, like, also a lot of their plans depended on being able to kind of pretend to be their past selves.
That's true. So there was some merit to it.
Yeah, but, like... And also, I don't think it was Nebula being in the same place. I was just the fact that she is a cyborg and then just going back in time.
Yeah.
Kind of, like, fucked something up.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I thought it was really cool, but it also felt like, kind of like fake. You know, like, I was watching this and I was like, this is not where I thought this was going, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it seemed very much like a not Marvel movie thing to happen, but
It
also I
wasn't that.
loved it.
It didn't feel like... It wasn't what I was expecting to go. I kind of felt like that this isn't, like, a real kind of feeling through most of it. Because it was mainly, and I think part of that was just how, like, lighthearted it was. Because after, like, the hell of Infinity War, I was just expecting Infinity War on steroids, and like a good chunk of it was just like normal Marvel movie tone. So I was like, how is this where they went?
And it's like, I don't want to say, like, I'm trying to, like, explain how I felt watching it, and I don't want to say it didn't feel like a Marvel movie, because it did, but, like, it just felt like time travel just felt like such, like, a not Marvel, like, you know... I didn't think that at any point the Marvel franchise was going to start fucking with time travel, you know? So I was just kind of like, this is
already
weird.
Start fucking with time. There's a thing called the Time Stone.
Yeah,
they
but
did
like...
it in Doctor Strange. They did it in Infinity War.
Yeah, but that wasn't like, you know, like, we built a time machine and we're going to go interact with our past selves and, like, create alternate timelines. It was kind of like... I'm gonna put me and Dormammu in a time loop, and microwave bitch is dead. Let me just back that up. Press rewind.
Microwave bitch. So disrespectful. He's dead.
What the fuck? I'm saying that from like Thanos' point of view. You know. Like, let me just rewind time. They messed with time, but not in that, like...
I didn't really, think too much about it.
Like, not really in a time travel movie kind of way. I really liked that thing they did where they were just talking about time travel movies for, 5 minutes, and they were like, so Back to the Future is full of shit.
I liked their take on time travel, where they were instead of it being all these paradoxes, where if it's you go back in time and remove the Infinity Stones, then Thanos never can get them, and then he never got them, and then Infinity War never happened, and then you never went back and got the Time Stones, so then all the Infinity Stones, so then they're still there, so then Thanos does get them. It's they were just no, just... This reality, since the past is already in your past, it's still already happened and you can't change it. So when you do fuck with time, no matter what you do, your timeline will stay the same. It'll just make a bunch of alternate timelines where shit's different to it, and then there's no paradoxes. You just have to account. You just have to either be okay with making a bunch of different timelines.
Yeah, I did think it was definitely an interesting, unique take, and it kind of had that almost a don't think about it too much attitude, which is fine because every time travel thing has a don't think about it too much attitude.
If you have time travel in something, it's just one of those things where if you think about it too much, it's something our brains just can't comprehend.
It always ends up being full of, paradoxes and weird shit, so, you just don't think about it, you know?
You can't. It's just it's not even, a lighting thing. It's just our brains are just incapable of, dealing with it.
Yeah, it's so, I don't really mind that at all. I don't think that's, a plot hole, you know?
Plus,
that's just how
time
travel
superhero movie.
Yeah, you know? One thing that I'm thinking of is because when they went back in time to get, the Tesseract and stuff, Loki ended up taking it.
Yeah.
and then, like, just piecing.
Yeah.
So, like, I wonder if the TV show that he's gonna have is, like, about what happens after he just dips.
Maybe.
Because, like, he didn't come back. That was one thing I had to remind myself of at the end of the movie, because it was like they reversed what Thanos did. Spoiler. Obviously, like, they got everybody back, but I kind of had to remind myself that, like, Loki is still dead, Gamora is still dead, Vision is still dead.
Who died before the snap did actually die.
Yeah.
They did actually, like, kill them as a permanent. Although, at the end of the movie, you saw, like, Peter Quill searching, like, doing a, like, search for Gamora on, like, the computer, so some people think that maybe she might still be alive somewhere. Somehow. For some reason. So there's that, and Loki, there's always a chance Loki's alive, because he's died, like, 3 times already, and none of those
He's
have
died, like,
stuck.
8 times.
So
the fuck are you saying?
So they never stick, so, like, at some point you just gotta accept you can't kill that kid. If you do a fake-out death with one character enough, you just gotta accept that you can never kill that character, because no one's going to believe you ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So unless they, like, don't know that.
I'm really excited for the TV shows that they're gonna have, by the way. Like,
I know,
they're gonna
Sam and Bucky.
Sam and Bucky, God. Every interaction they have is beautiful in every way. I cannot wait.
Much.
I cannot wait.
I love them.
I loved Tony's plan for getting the Tesseract was just like, just give past me a heart attack.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Thor will take care of it.
I literally actually had no plan on how to stop past me from just straight up dying. And it'll be a good distraction, It'll be... Even Ant-Man was like, you sure about this, dude? He was like, yeah, it'll be fine.
You're just gonna give me, like, a mild cardiovascular distress. And then he's like, that doesn't sound mild!
Sounds like it's a big deal. Also, I love Thor using his all-powerful magic hammer as a defibrillator. And
then Tony was just like, oh, hey, that did the trick. And they were like, cool beans. And then just moved on.
That was not the most dramatic thing that had happened.
That's true. And then I also love the Cap versus Cap thing. That was real funny.
That was
It was just like, he was just like, I found Loki, and then he's like, I'm not Loki. Which, of course, who would believe you, especially when you didn't offer any other explanation as to why you were just sitting there with Steve's face. And then they, like,
do
fight.
this all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Just, I can do this all day. Yeah, I know.
That was one of my favorite things about time travel. The time travel thing that made it kind of felt maybe just a little bit, like, fan servicey, but honest to fucking God, I do not give a single shit. It was great, because you had to see, like, it was such, like, a nostalgia thing. You get to see him, like, going back to all these old movies, like the first Guardians of the Galaxy and the first Avengers, and it was just nice. I liked it, okay?
It's good, alright? I know a bunch of people were pissed because a bunch of people found a bunch of, like, pictures from, like, the set, and nobody knew if it was from Endgame or, like, Loki's TV show or, like, what, but it was, like, pictures of, like, Tom Hiddleston dressed as Loki and, like, the first Avengers movie Loki. So then people were like, what is happening? Is my boy back? Is he alive? And he was in it for like 0.5 seconds, and they were like, bruh. But, it's fine.
This is why you don't jump to conclusions from set pictures, because filming just one, like, or two scenes takes so much time. Someone could be on the set for, like, a really long time for, like, 20 seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
It's just how it be.
Also, about the time travel thing, why was everybody just checking out Steve's ass?
That's hilarious.
Like, y'all are trying to save the universe. Please focus.
That's what I was talking about with, like, the really lighthearted tone. I was like, literally everything is on the line here. And you all just like, America's ass.
It's like, it's so funny, because... Yeah, it did, because in all the other movies, even when they were really high stakes, they were still like, haha, jokey joke.
But
and
this was, like, the highest.
Yeah, and then in Infinity War, everything was doom and gloom, even though there were some really funny parts. Every interaction the Avengers had with Guardians of the Galaxy was just pure gold.
I'll never get over Tony just disassociated. And they were like... kick names, take asses.
Every time Quill talked, Tony just dissociated on the spot. And then Peter was just in the background like, we're so screwed, guys. Like, there was this one scene we were looking at the other day, and just their facial expression, it was like, Peter was like, oh no, we're definitely gonna die. And, like, Tony was just like, maybe Thanos was right. Great. Maybe we do need a new plague. But no, it was like, there was really funny parts, but most of it was very doom and gloom, and then this movie rolls up, and they're, like, out trying to save the actual universe, and they're just like, America's ass. It was nice, I enjoyed it. It made me feel like
looking at his own.
It was, like, literally... Oh, God, it was just this dumbest... I forgot what I was gonna say.
Also, we haven't talked about, the Hulk.
I have that.
I feel like now's a good time. Instead of, the normal, like, separation, they just sort of fused, and now he has Hulk's body in, like,
just Mark Ruffalo's face.
Well, he always had Mark Ruffalo's face.
Well, not in, like, the very beginning. In Infinity War, it was like, that looks like Mark Ruffalo. But in this movie, it was like, that is... Yeah.
It's like, over the years, he looked more like Mark Ruffalo. Because they, like,
but it's like, in this movie, he was just like, that is just Mark Ruffalo. Painted green.
On steroids. He also dabbed, which was the worst thing I've ever had to see with my own two eyes.
It's like, the weird Hulk hybrid was, like, cool, but also I hate it a lot. It was, like, it was a good progression for his arc. That was one thing about this movie. Everyone's arcs, like, kind of, like, if not finished, like, finished, but not in the way where it's like, oh, well, they can't do anything with these characters anymore, but just, like, the arcs that they've had since, like, they first got introduced kind of closed, and it was, it's very good, but also he did dab.
But at least in the movie, the tone was that it was kind of supposed to be, like it wasn't supposed to be genuinely funny in the movie. It was supposed to be, like, really awkward and, like, ooh,
it was supposed to be, like, cringe humor.
Maybe I was projecting, but, like, I felt like in the movie it was such, like, an awkward scene overall that it was supposed to kind of be like, ooh.
No, definitely.
Yikes.
I think that was one of two times I've seen a movie incorporated and, like, a meme incorporated into a movie properly. The other time was Shazam, when they had Shazam doing the floss, just absent-mindedly.
Children absent-minded.
Like, literally, last week, I was walking across campus and just saw this, like, 10-year-old child just standing outside a car waiting for his mom to get something out of the trunk, and he was just absent-mindedly flossing.
When we were leaving that, like, Passover dinner thing we went to, I saw the kid outside of it, like, just waiting for his parents to come out flossing.
Yeah, it's like, it's just such an on-brand 2019 for, like, young teens and young kids to just do the floss absent-mindedly. And then this, I think, worked okay because,
because it was supposed to be
because
awful.
Just looking at the way the children reacted to him, just, like, they just got a picture with him where they were like, wow, so cool, and then he dabs, and they're just like, and they just walk away without another word, made me be like, Okay, yeah, they, like, meant for this to be, like, really cringy. They meant for it to be, like, they're not trying to be, like...
fellow kids.
Yeah, they're not trying to be, like, hello, fellow kids. They had the Hulk be, like, hello, fellow kids. And also, the time of that was 2023.
Oh my god.
The dab was definitely dead.
It's dead already.
It's already... People still do it, but, like, it's definitely, like, fully expired by 2023. And I guarantee that, like, Bruce just learned how to do it and was like, this'll be hip with the kids, and they were like, oh god.
Oh no.
Oh god, why? This is just... It's just horrible.
Just awful. So anyway, time travel.
Time travel.
I know that, also we never talked about how Tony has a family now. That was cute. He has like a 7-year-old daughter, 4-year-old, some tiny child.
How would she be?
Tiny. That's true. It was
a
5
7
years.
years.
She's
She
4.
was 5 at most. Probably 4.
Yeah. I'm just really bad at guessing ages.
Clearly.
Well, actually, probably the kid was probably a little older than 4 years. Imagine trying to get a fucking 4-year-old.
Hold on. I'm gonna Google what a 4-year-old looks like.
Imagine trying to get a 4-year-old to act. 4-year-olds are like
what
tiny.
does a 4-year-old look
4
like?
4-year-olds are basically just babies still.
That's like a 4-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
Like that. I think she could pass as a 4-year-old.
She probably could, but she's probably older than that. Imagine trying to get a 4-year-old to act.
Yeah, you're right. This is bringing up a lot of really weird pictures.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, some of them are just a small child holding a balloon, and some of them are very much not a small child holding a balloon.
He was a 40-year-old woman for no reason.
Yeah, like,
anyway.
What the fuck? Anyway. That was just so cute. Tony's such a good dad. Fuck.
That was so cute. That was so soft. And it makes everything else so much worse.
That kind of brings me to the next point that I have written down, which is that they really stressed the loss from, like, the last movie. Because, like, everyone was just so, like, broken and desperate, and they really highlighted how much everything had changed and just how, like, sad everybody was.
Yeah, like, once they realized they couldn't reverse it.
And how much they were, like, struggling to move on. And it was just, like, damn, you know? And, oh, God. Yeah.
So, back to time travel. So, they went to New York, like, Ant-Man and Steve and Tony did. And Bruce. Bruce went off on his own to get the time stone. The Sorcerer Supreme just... I like how... I know that, like, Stefan is a brain surgeon. Steven Strange.
Steven.
Yeah. I was looking at how it's spelled. Is he your
favorite or not?
Listen, I was looking right at it, and it's spelled Stefan, and that's not my fault. His name doesn't make any fucking sense. There should be a V. Just put a fucking V in it.
My name
that would
is
be
Steven.
It's his name.
Yeah, it's like, my name is Steven. Is that Steven with a PH? It's Steven with a PhD.
God. Anyway, so I like how he was like, I know he's like a neurosurgeon and you can't just like, you know, stop brain surgeries. But the Sorcerer Supreme was just like, oh yeah, he's doing brain surgery 20 blocks from here, you know, in the middle of the fucking alien invasion. Like, there could be aliens falling on that hospital. And he's just like, I know you can't, like, again, I realize you can't just, like, stop a brain surgery.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why, because it's like, well, they'll die. You don't want him to fuck up his perfect record.
Yeah, like his perfect
funny,
record then means that he successfully completed at least one brain surgery.
While there were aliens invading New York.
Cool. Also, I like how little the shit the sorcerers gave about that. Like, I feel like maybe by to the time they showed up, it was, like, already over. Like, they had already dealt with it. But they were just like, yeah, whatever. Like, the Avengers, like, I know they do that kind of shit every day, but the Avengers do that kind of shit every day also, and they still, like, care what is going on. They're not like, eh.
You know, I don't know where to go with that, just, going back to when they, like, fucked up Thanos in the first 2 minutes of the film, it's like, I feel conflicted, because it's like, I feel like Nebula should have killed Thanos, because he fucked her up so much, and she deserves it.
Yeah, I kind of wanted her to be.
But also, I think it's good that Thor did it, and he was like, I aimed for the head, and it's like, fuck yeah, you did, my dude, fuck him up. Yeah.
They, honestly, everyone in that room had pretty decent reason to just behead the bitch, so, like...
Yeah, but I feel like out of everyone there, I feel like it either should have been, like, Nebula, Tony, or Thor, because, like...
Tony wasn't there, was he?
I think he was.
No, he wasn't. He was still, like, he almost, like, he was, like, got off the ship, he was, like, half dead, and then collapsed, and then Carol showed up and was like, let's go, bitches, and I think they just sort of left him there.
Yeah, you're right. So I feel like it should have been either Nebula or Thor, because Nebula, was abused by Thanos her whole life, and then Thanos killed, like, everyone that Thor loved, so, and, like, most of his people. So,
I feel like that was a well-deserved moment of
retribution. That was a well-deserved kill.
Also, the very beginning of the movie, like, not the very beginning, like, the second very beginning of, like, after the first scene with Clint, with Tony and Nebula on the ship, that was kind of cute. I kind of like that.
That was so cute.
Like, he's just teaching her to play, like, paper football and shit.
I really like Nebula because she got really good character development, so she's, like, actually a good person, but she still has that kind of, like, really aggressive, like, assassin thing. Like, when he was playing paper football with her, she was just... is obvious, she's a good guy. She's playing paper football with Tony Stark. But then she was also like, I will destroy you at paper football.
And he was just like, okay.
And he was like, yeah, good job.
Only a little bit sadistic.
I love him so much.
He's so nice. I can't believe there are people in this world that hate Tony Stark. Like, I guess he's not technically my favorite superhero anymore.
Honestly, after this movie, it's like, I feel like he and Doctor Strange are tied.
He still, like, feels like my favorite, which probably might be because he did not be my favorite anymore because I liked him less. I just found someone I liked a little bit more. So it's like, I still love him just as much as I did.
He's what got me into superheroes,
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically... Doctor Strange was the one that got us, way into it,
but I mean, like, I think the first superhero movie I watched that wasn't, like, an animated one for children was Iron Man.
Yeah, probably. It was, like...
And I was like, this is so cool, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I always really liked him. I never
Iron
understood
Man was my favorite superhero as soon as I, like, gave enough of a shit about superheroes to have a favorite.
I mean, when we were kids, we had favorite superheroes. Remember? Because we really liked those, like, DC TV shows. We used to be DC people. That's a weird thought, isn't it?
Teen Titans still slaps.
Teen Titans is still the best, and you can fight me. How about that?
Teen Titans is the best DC content. You can't change my mind. But, yeah, it's just, I love him so much, and I liked a lot of the little details, like, they had a lot of, like, tiny details in this movie that I really enjoyed. And, like, two that I, like, kind of noticed a lot was, like, Tony's weight change throughout the movie. Like, in the beginning, he was all, like, you know, like, malnourished, which makes sense because he was dying. Yeah. And then, like, later on in the movie, you know, he didn't look like he was dying anymore, and he looked, like, a little bit chubbier than he did in, like, the other movies, which makes sense, because he wasn't being Iron Man anymore, he was living a domestic life with his family. And I was just like, they really put a lot of effort into this. Either that or Robert Downey Jr. was just like, you know, whatever. You know?
This is great.
I liked it. It was a good detail. I like
also,
it.
we haven't talked about Thor yet.
My son. Someone help. My dude. Someone. They were like. He was literally like, okay, first. You no. Okay, well, like, literally everyone was just kind of like, you know, whatever. It's like they literally had to track him down in some probably smelly ass hut where he was playing fucking Fortnite.
Hello, fellow kids moment too.
With, like, what's his name? Kronk. Quark?
Are you talking about
Quark? Pull the Quark. What the fuck? That's where I was getting that name from. I was like, that sounds familiar. I'll go with that one. That's yeah, Korg. And like
technically Korg was playing Fortnite. I love Thor just threatening some random probably 12-year-old on Fortnite.
named a Noob Master 69.
I kind of hate the insinuation that Fortnite will still be a thing in 2023.
Maybe it's not. Maybe they're just that just makes it really sad that they're not even playing like a hip video game anymore.
God.
They've just been playing the same video game for 5 years in this dark, smelly cave. It's really not funny. It's not. But it's like, why was no one like, you good, dude? Because, like, literally, like, if you name off, like, every symptom of depression, that was pretty much what Thor had. And everyone was just like, anyway, moving on. And it was like, y'all not gonna say anything.
I mean, they didn't really have time to address it. They had like
he turned from the God of Thunder into a dirty alcoholic hermit that plays Fortnite.
He wasn't a hermit. He did live somewhere. Hermits are people who like travel around.
Did you miss the part where Valkyrie was like, we only ever see him once a month when he comes out to buy booze?
He doesn't leave his house. A hermit is someone who doesn't live anywhere.
Okay, he's a dirty
he's like
recluse.
the opposite of a hermit.
He was a dirty alcoholic recluse, and they were just like, yeah, he's probably fine.
I mean, they didn't have like time to worry about it.
Yeah,
I mean, Bruce Banner did say something to him. He was like trying to be like, hey, come on, man, we can do this. It's fine, it's good, yeah? And then Rocket was like, it's not working. We have alcohol. Get the fuck in the ship. I like
God.
Rocket. He's very straight to the point, isn't he?
He works so well with characters you wouldn't think you'd work with.
He
Like,
just
if you
works-
told
he's
me
just a-
before Infinity War that, like, Thor and Rocket were gonna be, like, a good duo, I'd be like, why?
But
here
they are.
And
very good.
Jesus Christ. Just
It really wasn't fun. I feel like it was supposed to be funny. It really, like, wasn't.
It just made me feel bad for him. Like, I think
But it was also, like, shit like him yelling at New Master 69 on Fortnite. That's funny.
But it's also, like, I was like, oh my god.
Him
My
living
dude's
alone in a
straight-
dirty house, guzzling alcohol. Which,
I was
okay,
like, my
is
dude's straight up depressed, and they're like, Fortnite. It's
Like
like, bruh.
Like, him screaming at probably 12-year-olds on Fortnite, that's kind of funny. Him, like, guzzling alcohol in his dirty house it is kind of implied that, like, you know, Asgardians can take in quite a lot more alcohol than, like, a human can.
So how much was he drinking that he got a
Probably
fucking beer belly?
Probably quite a lot. It's probably just exactly proportional to the amount of if he was, like, a normal human drinking enough to get that. But, like...
My dude was literally going off the rails.
You know, because he used to drink a lot in other movies.
Yeah.
There was literally, in, like, Ragnarok, he, like, just guzzled a giant mug of beer. There's an ant on our ceiling. And then just, like,
that
filled it...
That is not an ant. Is that an ant? That's an ant. I thought it was a centipede, and I was about to be like,
I think it's an ant that, like, I saw on the wall earlier, and I tried to, like, throw it out the window with a piece of paper, but it, like, fell off, and I didn't know where it went, now it's back.
Great!
I thought maybe it fell into a vent, but no, there he is, he's returned, hello.
What up, Ant-Man?
But anyway, so yeah, that was, like, not funny at all.
It was not funny. I was, like, deeply concerned. But, you know, he got better at the end.
Yeah,
you know?
I like how they didn't feel the need to, like, make him get all buff again before he was like, yeah, saving the universe.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, yeah, he can save the universe like this.
He's still Thor. What, you gonna fuck with Thor? Even chonky Thor?
Thick Thor?
I think he was pretty thick to begin with.
There's two different types of thick.
Yeah, very different types of thick. But, like, just chunky Thor.
Still badass.
He's still Thor.
Still the god of fucking thunder, you know?
He finished his arc, though.
Yes.
He finished his arc.
Which was, like, the exact opposite of what everyone was expecting.
He talked to his mom again. He had a panic attack, but he got closure, and he finally decided to do what he wanted to do and not what everyone had been telling him he needed to be.
It's good. I like it.
It's what he deserves.
I feel like we could have, like, a
space
whole...
shenanigans with, like...
He's
Guardians
with
of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy now, and honestly, after Thor Ragnarok, that is exactly where he belongs.
He needs to be there.
It's like Thor Ragnarok gave me, like, slight Guardians of the Galaxy vibe just because of, like, bright colors, 80s music, space shenanigans. Probably that's the only reason there, but, like, it's where he belongs.
I know. Oh, God.
Anyway, we can get to, like, the first major sadness that happens almost an hour into the podcast.
You know, I was going into it, I was sort of accepting, not really, like, I wasn't accepting it, but, like, I knew at least one of, like, the big 6 Avengers is gonna not come out alive, and I was talking to people about it, and I was like, you know, like, if I had to, like, if it comes down to it and I had to choose, like, one of the original Avengers to die, I would be like, Natasha, just because I like the other ones more than her, even though I like her a lot, and I was like, I could live with Natasha dying. She hasn't gotten a ton of character development, you know? I mean, like, I love her, but, like...
Not super attached.
She died, and it was terrible, and I cried.
They had the audacity to finally get me attached to her, and then kill her 10 minutes later. So that was really unfair. Thanks, Marvel. You've been putting up for, like, what, 6 years longer? When the fuck did Iron Man 2 come out?
I don't know. I mean, Google it.
Since, like, the Avengers 1 is the first time I remember seeing her in anything. I'm not sure if I saw Iron Man 2 before seeing the Avengers.
It's 2010. It's been 9 years.
So, 9 years. Oh, yeah, I thought it was in, like, 2012 when I did 6 years, so it's still 2018. What the fuck? Okay, So, they spent, like, 9 years not having a solo movie, but being in, like, other movies, trying to get me to be attached to, and I was like, he's cool, but, like, whatever.
I like her, she's nice, she's cool.
She's badass. She has some nice moments, but I was, like, never super attached to her. Then they have the audacity in the endgame to get me to actually really, really, really like her, and then they, like, die. Also, the amount of, like, I was kind of, like, not really thinking about it because it was such, like, a pleasant movie so far other than, like, the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But then, they were going to, like, get the Soul Stone, and I wasn't thinking too much about it.
I wasn't thinking about it either.
The Red Skull dude came, and then I suddenly remembered, wait, doesn't someone have to die to get the Soul Stone? And then my brain immediately just went like, oh, fuck! Oh, no!
That's pretty much what happened to me. Like, I was like, oh, yep, gonna go get the Soul Stone, gotta fuck shit up. Ooh, we come a long way since Budapest, love y'all. And then they're on the planet, and I'm like, shit.
I know, it's like, just like a little bit before they actually remind you that has to happen, my brain is like, hey, remember that someone has to die to get it? And I was like, oh, God!
And I, like, literally cried out of this chick that I liked her, but, like, never really felt, like, super attached to. And I cried, and they literally shot it the same exact, like, way that they shot Gamora's death, and yet it was still just as effective, if not, like, more so, because I actually, like, don't like Gamora that much. Oops.
I like Gamora.
I mean, like, I like her, but, like, I like Gamora, but, like, I felt like she didn't really have that much going on, Maybe if they bring her back, they'll, like, give her more, I like her. I don't dislike her, but,
And, like, watching
like, it was sad when she died, but I wasn't, like, crying over it.
And I was literally, like, thinking while, like, her and Clint were talking, I was like, they're such good friends, like, I love their friendship now, suddenly. It took, like, 10 minutes of screen time than you've been giving me for the past 9 years, and suddenly I love them, and I need more of this, and then they fucking kill. I guess it's more. It wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
And Clint was so sad. They were all so sad. And then I've seen some people who I guess just, like, don't understand how the Soul Stone works, who are confused as to how it worked. Since she, like, willingly sacrificed herself, and it's like, you don't have to murder the person.
You just have to accept that they're not alive anymore.
You don't have to even, like, I've seen some people thinking that it's like, you have to sacrifice them. It's like, no, you don't. The phrasing was, you have to lose what you love. It doesn't matter whether you throw them off yourself or whether they actually literally physically fight you to be the one that jumps off and dies.
That would probably even make it a more valid sacrifice because, Thanos yeeting his daughter off a cliff could very much be interpreted as he doesn't really give that much of a shit about her, which he definitely doesn't, by the way. But the fact that Clint literally was fighting for her to not die proves that he loved her and didn't want her to die, so the fact that she did die made it exactly what the Soul Stone needed.
But, like, the point is, you don't have to sacrifice them, you just have to lose them.
I really thought for a second, though, that they were gonna be like, well, you needed to sacrifice her, but she just fell, and then she was just gonna have to die for nothing. Like, I knew they weren't gonna do that, but my brain was like, what if they're like, that didn't count, she died for nothing?
I'm pretty sure Clint would have just fucking strangled her skull right there. Doesn't matter if he's already dead, doesn't matter if he has absolutely nothing to do with it.
I know, like, Jesus.
But he was just so sad, and I was starting to really love their friendship, and nothing will get you to like two characters more than showing that, hey, I will literally physically fight you about so that I will be the one to sacrifice myself. Like, goddamn. That was really harsh. Why do you have to do that?
You really fucked us up.
Why didn't you warn them? Why do you have to send those two together? I mean, I guess it wouldn't have worked if you just sent
You sound like who and Rocket.
They don't give a shit about each other.
Yeah. But God, that was just so...
You could have given them a heads up.
That was so whack.
Wouldn't have made it better, though, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Tony and his family, again. Just be like I wanted to bring it up.
What is Minecraft up?
Minecraft. But just like, goddamn, like
there's a new update. Cool.
Yeah, he loved them so much, and he, like he wants to help people. That's what he's good at. But he was like at first not willing to help them because he didn't want to risk his family. But and then he decides he wants to because picture him and Peter.
And then he was like, I can't in like good conscience not, which was always like a thing with him. Like he tried to stop being a superhero like several times throughout the series, but he always like couldn't manage it. He was always be like, but this thing, they need me to do a thing.
Yeah, it's like he can't live with himself if he knows he can help people and he just doesn't,
Yeah.
Like, one of the reasons why he was okay with, like, toning them down the first time was because he was like, there's no way this is gonna work, and I don't want to sacrifice my family for this. And then he figured out how to do it and was like, fuck, now I gotta. Like, I can't just not do
like
that.
how Peppa was just kind of like accepted it, Like she was like, for a while she was always like, we need to like, I can't deal with you being a superhero and almost dying every other day, which is that's a valid concern in a relationship. But then at this point he was like, I can't help everyone. And then she was like, but it seems like you can this time. And then he was like, well, now I definitely gotta.
Yeah, it was like, one of the reoccurring things with their relationship was that she kind of wanted him to not be a superhero anymore, so that she wouldn't always have to worry about him dying. But she also knew that this is what he was made to do, and she knew that he needed to save people if he knew that he could, because he's Iron Man, and he's come so far from being called the Merchant of Death, who didn't even care who his missiles were killing as long as they were the bad guys. And now she's just like, you know what, you can't, I know you won't be able to live with yourself if you don't do this.
So do it.
Don't
die, but do it.
And then just God, the fucking line, like, she was like, will you be able to rest, though? And then at the end of the movie, she's like, you can rest now! It's like, fuck you, Marvel. Fuck you and everything.
Anyways,
so
that we can talk about the movie in coherency before we get to that big thing, as if all of you here don't already know. If you like are watching this podcast without having seen the movie, I don't know why. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're one of like the 3 people in this world who doesn't care about the MCU. Don't know why you'd care about this podcast then, though. Maybe you're one of those people who, like, when you feel afraid something, like, dramatic's gonna happen, you, like, want to know beforehand. Then I'm sorry, because we're not just saying, like, the big things. We're just spoiling the whole last movie. All of it, everything. But anyway,
we'll put a warning for that in the description. Like, we're not just spoiling the big things, we're spoiling literally everything that happens in the movie. And we are analyzing it frame by frame.
just reading the screenplay out. It's just the movie, but worse.
I mean, that's probably a fair analysis.
Anyway, where the fuck were we? Soulstone. So everyone's, like, sad.
You did this in, like, somewhat order, and, like, I'm already going to, like, the final fight. And then, like, I kind of
that's where I'm at, too, now.
Oh, cool.
I'm just trying to remember what the fuck happens in between.
They get this whole, Natasha's death, they start getting all of the stones. Thor talks to his mom, and then Rocket just kind of, like, ambiguously gets the reality stones and, like, come on.
Thor gets his hammer that I still can't say the name of out loud.
Mjolnir?
Is that how you...
Mjolnir?
Meljanor?
How to pronounce...
He gets his
how to pronounce Thor's hammer.
Apparently people don't know how to spell it either.
It's Mjolnir. Mjolnir. Wait, that's not how it's pronounced. It's pronounced Mjolnir. Mjolnir.
Mjolnir?
Mjolnir.
The fuck? Thor's hammer! As it will continue to be.
No, it's like saying Mjolnir. The M is partially silent, the L is completely silent, and the R is pronounced by rolling the tongue. Whoa, what?
Maybe play one of the videos.
Hold on.
Has you say that
like it. I'm just gonna keep calling it Mjolnir.
The word
Mjolnir?
Used in a sentence.
Mjolnir.
Used in a
Mjolnir. Thor's hammer!
word will bring
As I will continue going.
Mjolnir. We're like that one bitch from the Thor movies whose name I can't remember that just calls it like Mjolnir. Mjah. That's it. I'm gonna call it Mjah for the rest of this podcast. It's
Thor's
less
hammer.
this.
He summons it again and he's happy because even though like he
Mjolnir.
failed and everything and has done nothing for the past 5 years.
Now he's dual wielding a giant axe and a giant hammer.
He's still worthy of it.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I'm love.
That's cool. Good for him. I love him. Anyway.
So anyway, jumping into the middle of the final fight, because that's what my next point is.
Okay, no, we don't need to do that. So,
Okay.
like, they get all the Infinity Stones, and then, like, Hulk uses the Infinity Gauntlet.
Wait, hold on. There's one thing that I wanted to mention.
What?
Oh yeah, to get the Tesseract, they ended up having to go farther back in time.
Yeah.
And then Tony got to talk to his dad, and he realized that even though his dad was the biggest bitch on the galaxy other than Thanos himself, he did everything wrong, but like he knew that he didn't, like Tony knew for sure that he didn't want to do everything wrong. He was just so shit.
He was just the worst.
He was just
so
awful.
garbage. How do you fuck it up that way?
Literally, all you have to do is love them.
It's really not that hard.
It's not hard to just treat someone with basic decency, but like, whatever, I guess. But that was good closure for Tony.
And then he really confused the fuck out of his dad.
Yeah, but that was a good scene. I liked it a lot.
It was a good scene.
It was good.
Anyway, so they got all the Infinity Stones, and then Hulk uses it, and a lot of people wondering why they had Hulk do it, and then, like, they leave, and then they literally explain that in the fucking movie. I swear to God, people just don't watch these things.
It just reminds me of this post I saw where somebody was just like, I'm gonna make a song called Toss Me Into the Sun that's the antithesis to Fly Me to the Moon, and then someone was just like, then call it Toss Me Into the Sun, and then they were like, what part of this post did you manage to miss? It's like, that's how I feel sometimes when I hear people talk about shit like this, because it's like,
why
are you just not
get-
capable of comprehending words as they're said to you?
This is why you should never get your information or critique or opinions of anything from fucking Tumblr. I swear to God, everyone on that site just has half a brain cell. They're all morons. All of them. They're the worst. It's the worst website. I need to spend too much time on it. Every time I go on there, I end up like 2 seconds away from deleting my fucking account. But anyway. No, God, I'm thinking.
That was not words. That was not words.
I have no critical thinking skills.
They really don't. Do
Anyway.
they? Everyone on this site is
They don't know how the world works. They don't know how anything works. They don't know how to act act like a person. Anyway, the reason Hulk does it, as they explained pretty fucking clearly, is that it mainly is that the main form is that one of the biggest forms of radiation it admits is gamma radiation, which is the type of radiation that turned Bruce Banner into the Hulk. So naturally, he will be more resistant to it, and therefore is the most likely to be able to survive using it.
And so, like, Tony made an Infinity Gauntlet that, like, looks like an Iron Man glove, and, like, that better replaces the Infinity Gauntlet on, like, every piece of merch, because it's what he deserves, and it's way cooler looking. And, like, fuck Thanos, you know? Fuck Thanos lives.
So on the same page.
Oh, God. Anyway, so yeah, Hulk uses the thing, and then Clint gets a call from his wife, which was cute, and then Ant-Man was just looking, and a bunch of birds just came out of nowhere, and they were like, oh my God, I think it worked. But of course, Purple Great Bitch
comes out of the woodworks and just blows up the whole Avengers compound.
Yeah, we haven't really touched on him that much, but when Nebula went back in time, the Nebula of the past got the information from Nebula's databanks, because their brains are synced up.
Since they're computer brains, they glitched out.
Yeah, and so Thanos basically figured out that he got all the Infinity Stones and did the snap, but then got fucking sniped by Thor, got clotheslined, and then
decapitated. But then he was like, I don't care, destiny.
But then they were, found out that they were coming back in time to kill them. So they were like, shit,
To reverse it, so he's like, well, now I have to preserve my destiny of the future.
So basically, he ended up using Nebula, who hasn't gotten.
Can I have some of you water?
Yeah, who hasn't had character development yet, to basically get him into the present, and then they just fuck up the Avengers.
Because he they kidnapped Nebula with
present day Nebula.
Because, when their brains connected, she kind of, glitched out and she missed. And, Rhodey ended up going back without her.
They were a good duo.
They were.
Because I, didn't really expect it, but they both kind of have that, cyborg thing going on.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was a good moment. But yeah, he was 1, 2, 3, and he pressed the button, and then she was going to, and then her brain glitched out, and she basically got left behind and kidnapped, and then they, switched places with past Nebula, and then she came back to the future, and then, opened up the thing for Thanos, and then he was like, hello! And he fucked everybody
burned
up.
the whole thing down, and then Clint, thinking on his Ant-Man saved some people being crushed by level by growing really big, Clint really thought on his feet and just grabbed the Infinity Gauntlet and just started booking it.
I know. Okay, after Hulk did the snap and brought everybody back, they took the gauntlet off of him, which makes sense because it was killing him. And then they throw it on the ground, and I was like, no! Yeah, it was do not throw it on. And even though I knew they had no reason to be Thanos is gonna come busting through the wall, I was like, why would you leave the 6 most powerful things in the universe just lying on the ground?
Since now they're united by the gauntlet, it's the single most powerful object in the universe. You're just gonna chuck it across the room. Again, they were just trying to, get it off of him, but I would, run over and, pick it up and just be hugging it no one can ever touch this ever again. We have to burn it right now.
Yeah. But yeah, so they basically roll up, and then all the Avengers gotta start fighting Thanos' bitch ass. Motherfucker.
And then, you know, they're all doing their best.
It's not going super great.
Steve, what happened to everyone? I know that Steve was, like, fighting him alone for everyone, because, like, everyone else was just down. You know how they do that in, like, Avengers fights? There's so many of them that, so, like, one of them will get, like, knocked down for 3 minutes, and a couple other ones will come in to, like, take over, and then they'll get knocked down, and then the ones who were knocked down before will come back, like, surprise bitch.
Especially you thought you were seeing the last of me. But, like, Thanos was killable because he didn't have any of the Infinity Stones yet. Wait, he had the Power Stone, didn't he?
No, because they had the Power Stone.
He got the Power Stone at some point, though.
Yeah. He didn't have any of them yet. I don't
Right.
think.
So they were just kind of fucking each other up. And they almost, like, killed Tony. They almost killed Tony, and then, like, Thor, like, bitch slapped Thanos or something, then they almost, like, killed Steve, and then they got fucking bitch slapped again, and then Thor... No, wait. The thing with Iron Man didn't happen. They just kind of, like, fucking clocked Iron Man. He was down for the count for a little bit. But, like, Steve almost got, like, his shield got fucked up. He was about to die, and then Thor came through and was like, yeet. And then they were fighting. And then Thor was almost getting killed. And then Thanos gets bitch slapped by Mjolnir. And everyone's like, whoa! And then it, like, goes past him. Boomerang's back. And then Steve catches it. And everyone in the theater loses their mind.
I know, that was cheering. I was like, I remember them cheering at one point. What point was it? Was it when Steve grabbed Thor's hammer? Because that was pretty cool. So Steve is worthy.
And then
badass.
Thor was just like, I knew it!
He's literally just like, I knew it! I fucking knew it!
Wait, in Age of Ultron, did Steve try to pick it up?
Yes, Steve was the one, they were all, like, trying to pick it up, because, you know, as friends do, and then Steve was the one where he, like, yanked on it, and it, like, moved very slightly, and Thor was like, Thor was shook it, Thor was like, excuse me!
But now, I guess he's had more character development since then.
Or he could do it all the time, and he was just like, you know, I'm not gonna.
I think it's probably partially with it. I think Civil War gave him and Tony a lot of character development. So maybe after that, Mjolnir was like, alright, whatever.
Worthy.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that was lit as hell. And then Thor dual-wielded with both of them for a while, but then he was like, here, Steve, you can have the tiny one, which was just another good moment for Thor's growth. Because he spent his entire first goddamn movie being like, I'm not worthy of Mjolnir anymore. And then by the end of it, he was like, you can have the tiny one. I got an axe now.
I have this thing. It's much better.
It's far superior.
But anyway, and then, like, Steve ends up getting really beat up. His shield's, like, all smashed up, you know. And then, you know, and I'm like, he, like, still starts getting up, and I was like, I swear to God, if you say the thing right now.
I was like, I wanted him to say it so bad.
My brain was going, don't fucking say it. I swear to God, don't say it, but I wanted him to say it.
I was like,
he
I could hear it.
But I wanted him to say it.
In case you're completely lost, we really wanted him to say, I can do this all day, which would have
just been... And it's like, I know they already referenced that in this movie, but, like, come on.
Come on, man. But instead, what happened was someone started talking to him
in his ear.
In the ear thing. And it was so funny, because he was like, hey, Cap, can you read me? And he's like, kind of like, I'm kind of busy right now. And then he's like, it's Sam. And then, like, Steve was kind of like, and then it took me a second.
I know, because
it took me until that one portal opened to be like, wait a second, Sam was dead!
My brain process was like, who is that? It sounds, I know that voice, I just, like, I couldn't place it, but I was like, oh, it's Sam, nice. And I was like, wait, Sam's dead! And then, like, the blurry, like, it's still out of focus, like, the Doctor Strange photo opens up, and I'm like, whoa!
And he's just like, on your left, which is the greatest callback ever. I was literally sitting there going,
yes!
The amount of times, okay, here's the thing. The amount of times There were so many cool shots in this fucking movie. I lost my shit so many times. I was pumping my fist, clenching my teeth, going, yes, 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 under my breath every 5 minutes. Literally the only other movie that I've done that to is Infinity War. Those movies,
and
literally...
The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Remember
but,
we, cheered at the Force, the Millennium Falcon came out, and
but,
everyone was like, yeah!
Yeah, that was, just really exciting, but, with that, it was kind of, I felt so invested in this fight that was happening that every time they, got a little bit of headway, I was like, yes! Fuck them up! Fuck them all up! I love
But then, they open the portal and a couple people come out. You see, Spider-Man, you see Doctor Strange, you see...
T'Challa was actually the first one.
Oh, yeah, they were like that, yeah.
And then all of fucking Wakanda just shows up,
they were, behind him.
Oh.
And then, Doctor Strange, there's Spider-Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Then more portals start opening. And there's, more, and then there's just a million portals, and there's all these people coming out.
They blend into this, huge wall, and you can see Wakanda on the other side of it.
You can see, planets on the other sides. And honestly, I was like, Thanos' army is, really loyal, especially considering his plan involves half of them dying. But they're, really loyal, because if I was one of them, and once I saw that, I would be like, I'm out! I'm not, no!
Well, to be fair, most of the things that they're fighting are kind of these weird, demon, mindless hellhound things.
True, but, anyone with a brain, I would have just been like, I'm out, I'm not, no,
we're
fucked. That's a whole army of superheroes. You think we're gonna win that? Think we're gonna win? Look at it!
And then Doctor Strange was like, is that all of them? And Wong was like, did you fucking want more? And it was so
It
good.
wasn't all of them, though, is the funny thing. You still got Carol the shot.
They didn't know about Carol, though.
True.
And then
that was another
they're all
thing.
standing there. They're all lining up. Doctor Strange's portals are there. Steve's in the front with his fucking half shield and with Mew Mew or whatever the hell. And then he just goes, Avengers! And waits 10 seconds. It's a great zoom in, and he's like, assemble! And then everyone loses their shit. There's 3 billion superheroes. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
The most exciting thing to ever happen to me. Anyway.
Poetic cinema!
So then later, this is a lot of it's just chaotic fighting. I don't remember the order this shit happened in. Mm-hmm. But Thanos has opened fire, his ships are firing and causing explosions, causing a bunch of complications. But then suddenly the firing stops, and except it didn't stop. All the guns are just pointed at the sky, and it took me a second. I was like, wait, what is happening? Then I was like,
I thought it was something bad. I thought they were charging up to beam something down from the sky and wipe them all out. And then I saw that orange glow in the sky.
My first thought was, oh, you're fucked. Oh, you're so
She's
fucked.
She's here to turn Thanos into grape juice.
You're so
she
fucked.
She comes clashing and destroys all their ships in one fucking go.
And then Thanos is just staring oh shit, well I guess that's the end of that. We're just on our own now.
And then she comes down, she starts just literally just fucking going.
At some point in this fight, they started playing Monkey in the Middle with the most powerful object in the universe. Who had it? Clint had it for a while. Mm-hmm. And then he chucked it to, what was T'Challa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So T'Challa had it, and he was, going around with it for a while. I don't remember when he, gave it to someone else.
He gave it to Spider-Man.
I know, yeah, he gave it to Spider-Man. I don't remember, why.
I don't either. I'm gonna have to watch this movie, 10 times and then just skip
I think
a
it was,
little
it was probably just because, a lot of people were coming after him, and he was like, you, child, take it.
Take it, child. I think he was, I think he got, kind of tackled, and then he was just kind of holding it up, and then Spider-Man was like, yeet. But it was good. I also realized an earlier point that I should have been up there earlier, but I put it in back in the middle of the end of the fight for some reason. But I just put Nebula, I love you, but also fuck 2014, she a bitch. Anyway.
Oh yeah, because there was past Nebula was Coat Nebula was back. Yeah. Past Nebula has been personating her because it was really easy because they're the same person. Oh yeah, that was what happened with Clint with it. He still had it, and then, like, the other Nebula came out, he got, like, whacked by something. It's probably an explosion, because, you know, he's just, like, a dude, you know? I always think
and then
about
also
that.
he was, like...
He's just, like, a guy, like, him and
I forgot! He, like, got wrecked by something, and then he, like, Nebula came up, and he was, like... No, he got wrecked by something, Nebula came up, and he was like, here, you take it. And then she kind of, like, grabs it and then fucks him up more, and then is like, Father, I've acquired the stones. And he was like, fucking hell. And then, like, something happened, he ended up getting it away from her, and then T'Challa was like, here, I'll take it.
No, it was like, Gamora and Nebula showed up, and, like, because, like, you know, Gamora had been holding Nebula prisoner, but then she was like, since Nebula's nice and has character development now, she was like, and Gamora was like, what happens to us in the future? Because, like, you know, they still kind of cared about each other, and she was like, we're friends. Yes, we're sisters. Please help me. Please.
Please help me kill this great bitch.
Please. And then Gamora was like, alright.
I never liked him anyway.
So...
Which makes sense, because she was the first one of them originally to be like, fuck this dude.
Yeah, so she was already like, and it was during, like, that was her during Guardians of the Galaxy 1, so she was like pretty damn close to just being like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Already, so like, there's that. So then Clint's like, what the fuck? And then, like, Nebula shoots her younger self, because I guess, like, it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happened. See, we can't even remember jack shit. It was like sensory overload.
Someone else gets it, and then Clint takes it back, and then they give it to T'Challa, and then T'Challa gives it to Spider-Man.
And then Spider-Man gets fucked by something.
Because he's like 15 still, you know?
Yeah, and then, like, every lady Avenger to ever exist just
I didn't even notice that. Like, everyone was like, all the female Avengers, and I was like, oh yeah, it was like just them, wasn't it?
I didn't notice at first, and then I was kind of like, oh, and then, you know, they just all came up to save Peter, because he baby, and, you know, we were talking about this earlier, and we were saying that it might have been, like, a little bit forced, but honestly, I didn't even give a shit, because it was still iconic as hell. Don't even care. Maybe they were just the only ones that have more than 3 brain cells, and we're like, hey, maybe if we're playing monkey in the middle with the most powerful item in existence, we should have, like, more people watching this 15-year-old.
They were all just like, well, that wasn't the part that fell forward. The part that fell forward was, like, immediately after that. But, so then Peter's, like, freaking out, because, you know, he's like, this is a lot for a, like, 15-year-old, and then, like, Kalo comes along and is like, hi, and then he's like, oh, I'm Peter, and then she's like, yeah, hi, can you give me the thing? And he was like, yeah, take it, and then like, all the other, female superheroes show up to be like, help Carol, though she didn't really need anyone's help. That was, like, the main thing that was kind of had me, like, what the fuck about that scene. Because, you know, they were all around from, like, saving Spider-Man's ass for the past couple minutes. But, like, she didn't need your help. No offense. You all are really cool, and I like you.
Very good, very strong. Pepper in that fucking, like, Iron Man armor that Tony made for her for their anniversary.
That
so
was
good.
Cool. It's like, you know, I like all of you. You did they? I can't even remember if they actually, to me, the part that, like, it just seemed like they kind of just went and, like, fought, like, in the surrounding area right after that, while Captain Marvel just sped away on her own, because they were kind of like,
they were just kind of, like, clearing the path for her, I think.
She cleared a path right through some spaceships, though I don't think she needs to clear the path through the mindless alien drones.
Yeah, you're right, but, like...
So, like, they she didn't really need your help, though. You guys sticking it out for Spider-Man was very much appreciated. He needed your help.
Yeah, and then, you know, that whole thing led to the other greatest thing in the movie, which was when Captain Marvel came up to go fuck up Thanos' existence, and she's holding him back with one hand.
At some point, he had gotten the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
At some point, I don't know when.
Yeah.
Chaos?
But, like, he had gotten it, and then she was holding him back with one goddamn hand. The man with the Infinity Gauntlet, who's, like, twice her size, and he's, like, trying to do shit, and she's just like, nah, son. And then he fucking headbutts her, and she doesn't even blink! He must have been so shook. He doesn't know who this chick is. Ooh, that reminds me of another scene!
Yeah, I don't know where it placed, but it was, Scarlet Witch is like, you took everything from me, and he was like, I don't even know who you are, and then she was like, you will, and then she just started fucking him up. That was cool, I like that.
I love Scarlet Witch, to be honest.
She's cool, I love her.
She's very strong, we stan. She just fucked his ass up. Name a more iconic exchange than I don't even know who you are. You will.
You can't.
Media.
You gotta the first one is like, you took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will. Rocked.
Not even a rock. There was like a whole floor of a building condensed into a giant rock and then thrown onto. But, like, the dude must have been so shook. He had to use the power stone to get her off of him.
That was Carol, not.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, yeah.
I don't
I gotta
remember what
switch
happened
back
to
to
Scarlet
Carol.
Witch.
I can't remember either, but going back
So
to
many
Carol,
things happened.
he was so shook.
He had to, like, take it out individually to, like,
Because
punch
she was
you.
holding the hand with the Infinity Stones on it so securely that he couldn't use it. And he had to take his other hand, take the Power Stone out, and then use that
And then,
on
like,
her.
punch her in the face with it.
Yeah,
That got her off.
literally. That
Which
was
makes
the only
sense.
thing you could do.
If that
would get
didn't
her
work,
off.
she would be that would be too much.
Yeah, if this wasn't the Thanos from the past, he would have started getting, like, war flashbacks from clotheslining Tony with the moon and having him just be like, try that again, bitch, I'll end your shit. Like, he has Infinity Stones, the strongest things on the planet, and there's still people that can just be like, you know what, you ain't really that, you ain't that shit, you who cares, you know, like, just let me just hold your hand there with
It's
one
like
of my
basically
tiny hands.
It really looked kind of like, it looked so...
It looked so funny, because this dude's fucking huge, and Carol's just average-sized woman, and she's just holding him there with her comparatively punitive hand, and he can't even use it.
And then she's just death staring him. She doesn't even know who those bitches. She's never met him before, but she's like, I already know I hate you.
Dude, you know, if they had her for Infinity War before he had all of those stones, she would have just killed him on the spot. He would have been eviscerated. Nick, you really needed to call her in sooner.
Yeah.
So good. Such a good fucking scene. Oh my god. Holy shit.
Anyway,
bitch, you
and
know?
now Peter and Tony get to see each other
That
again.
hug.
And then,
The hug.
Yes, the hug. They got to hug, like, for real this time. Not like that awkward thing in the car.
Yes. It's like just that progression from like, I'm just getting the door for you, we're not here yet, to that just good hug where he just like, he's just staring at Peter like, you know, like he's seeing a ghost.
Like,
And then
Peter's
Peter
just
just won't
rambling.
stop talking, and then he just hugs him, and then Peter's just like, oh, this is nice.
Peter's just
like
totally...
blue face. I'm like,
Peter's just totally oblivious, just rambling about all the shit that's been going on. And then Tony's just staring at him, like, looks so soft, and then he just hugs him, and then Peter's like, oh, this is happening? Okay.
this is nice. It was just the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh god. And then it's just so good. The final fight was so good, and then it was like Rocket got his family back. They were all ready to fuck shit up. So
yeah, they
good.
were doing it.
They were ready. They were ready.
I don't remember that much in the final fight.
They weren't in it that much.
There was Gamora and Star-Lord, that, like, brief interaction where Gamora,
well, he was like, oh my god, Gamora, I missed you so much, and then she just fucking wags his shit.
which, like, she was like, don't touch me, which, to be fair to Star-Lord, he probably figured it was, like, present-day Gamora, where, like, you know, they, like, knew each other.
He didn't know they went into the past.
Yeah, he didn't know that was past Gamora. He thought it was, like, current Gamora, like, so he was like, this is cool, yeah, we're in love, this is cool, and then she was like, fuck off, and then he was like, oh.
And then she asked Nebula, like, really? This buffoon? And she was just like, is either that or a tree?
He was so offended. He was like, come on, guys.
Love that scene.
So, anyway. Anything else about the final fight before we...
I can't think of anything other than that it was the greatest thing I've seen in my whole life, and I was just sitting there going, this is the greatest thing I've seen in my whole life, and I was like, they're gonna do it, they're gonna beat them, I don't even care what happens, spoiler alert, I did care what happens, I cared very deeply about what happens.
So...
I was like, it doesn't matter what happens next, they've done it, they're winning. And, you know, it did matter a lot.
So, something's, like, flooding and, like, you know, Doctor Strange is making a weird water tornado, which he should have, like, thrown into the battlefield. Maybe that would have
like, fucked up his own guys.
Yeah, true. Just, like...
Ooh, wasn't there this one scene where they were, like, where Captain Marvel was going around and ruining everything, and, like, they were finally, like, turning the tide, they were beating Thanos' ass, and he was just like, fire on everybody else! They were like, he was like, fire down there, put all your guns down there, and then they were like, but what about our men? And he was like, I don't care! And then, of course, so then they all fired onto the battlefield, but then, of course, like, everybody fighting had, like, some way of making a shield, so they just fucked up their own soldiers, and everyone else
all the sorcerers were, like, umbrellas.
Yeah, all of the other...
I think that was before Carol, like, came down and, like, destroyed the ships.
Yeah, it was, but, like, they were literally, it was so funny, because they literally just fucked up their own guys, and everyone else was fine, and I was like, you stupid bitch. You stupid.
But anyway, I guess we have to go now to this.
I don't wanna, though.
So, you know, Doctor Strange is, like, keeping the whole battlefield from flooding and making everything much worse than it already is. So then, Tony, like, looks at him, like, is this, like, are we good? Like, because, you know, he'd seen it in Infinity War, he looked into the future and was like, there's one way that we win this. And he looks at Tony and just goes, like, one. Like, he just
holds up a finger.
And then I was like, it's over. Like, that's it. He's dead. Like, that's...
See, I didn't even think that. I was just like, hell yeah.
That was my...
And then, fucking...
No, that was my first thought was, oh, I guess Tony's dead now.
And then Thanos, like, kind of, like, had all the Infinity Stones in his gauntlet, and, you know, he had, like, thrown Tony off of him, and he was just like, I am inevitable, and he snaps his fingers, and nothing happens. And then he's like, what the fuck? And then Tony holds up his...
He turns his hand around, there's no Infinity Stones in it.
Yeah, the gauntlet is empty, and then it cuts to Tony, and then he holds his hand up, and then his Iron Man hand starts going around, and then all of the Infinity Stones are there, and he's like, yeah! And then he's holding it, and he just goes, and I am Iron Man, and snaps his finger, and I was like, yeah!
That was like the least, that was the last callback I was expecting.
You know, like when he was like, and I am, there was like, it felt like there was 20 years of pause in between when he was like, and I am Iron Man, and like he was like, and I am, I was like, you're gonna say I'm Iron Man, aren't you? And then he said it, and I was like,
I thought he was gonna like go back, I thought he was gonna say like stubborn or something, because like at the beginning of the fight Thanos was like, wow, you're so stubborn, aren't you? But I am inevitable, so I thought Thanos is gonna be like, I'm inevitable, and he's like, well, I'm fucking stubborn. Fuck you.
But no, he goes, I am Iron Man.
Iron Man's much better.
Yeah, he snaps his fingers, and then all of the bad guys just start fading away to nothingness, and Thanos' face shooketh. He was just sitting there. He kind of like sunk down onto the ground and was just staring there like, no, how could I have lost? And it's like, because you're a bitch.
And then he disintegrated.
And then he disintegrated, which honestly, I wanted to see him decapitated again.
Wanted him to just
Seeing him
disintegrate
isn't satisfying enough. I want to see his shit get fucked, you know?
You just wanted to, right before he disintegrated, to Thor come away from the sky and cut his head off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
And
but,
then
like,
he could disintegrate. Kill him 3 times.
It
one
was
movie.
so good.
It was the
he
best.
killed Thanos' bitch ass, saved the whole universe. My man.
And then, you know, no one person can hold all the Infinity Stones. Even though Thanos did for like a whole last movie and the Hulk did. Like,
Well, that was the thing. He had that the Infinity Gauntlet was specifically designed to allow someone to wield it.
Yeah, his was like a weird, like, last minute thing he made.
Yeah,
to, like,
Bruce's, he could do it because it was gamma radiation, but
it
like
injured him though.
it injured him pretty severely. But you know, no one person can wield the Infinity Stones. So
it's
so. I
there
don't
was,
want to
like-
say it. The moment I say it, it's gonna be like a real thing that
so
happens.
there's like, it takes like, 10 minutes, because of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
But,
gotta have all that sadness in there.
But
Before absolutely nothing happens and he's totally fine in every way. Because it's a Marvel movie, no one dies. In Marvel movies and everything is fine. I'm not in denial at all about anything
they
that
were-
happened in this movie.
they wouldn't kill off their like biggest property, right?
No, of course not. They're too, like, greedy corporations.
Yeah.
To do that, they would, even if it is like a really good ending for him and like a good, and like it was a good scene and it was like a really good way to complete his character arc and it like fit into everything and it was like fit into the movie and like followed through with the stakes they set up and it's all around really like a good decision. It was like they didn't. Because
They did.
everyone loves him. No, they didn't. They didn't.
though.
They
They
didn't
did,
do
though.
that, though. They didn't.
I just want to say that Bruce and Tony both wielded the Infinity Stones. You know how much it fucked up the Guardians just to hold. They were just holding one, and they had its power going through all of them. And then
Yeah.
Tony held all of them and lived for like 10
He had
minutes
a gauntlet,
afterwards.
though. It
Yeah,
was just,
that's
like,
true.
gripping, like, the thing just on its own.
It was just, we stand talent. And then just like, God, it was such like a good end to his arc. And it was...
I wish it hadn't happened, but it was the death he deserved. Like, so...
If they weren't gonna let him live out and die of old age with his family, then this was the way that he would have to go, you know?
just in a blaze of, like, heroism.
Saving the goddamn universe.
Totally, like, selfless, by the way.
Completely.
By the way, at all you people who have had to listen to calling him a selfish asshole for like 10 fucking years.
Fuck you guys.
Not anymore, you fuckers.
Earth's greatest defender, bitch. Square up. God.
He's
And then just like,
best, and I love
but like
him.
everyone
We
came
love
up,
him.
like there was Pepper, there was Peter, I think Rhodey was there.
Yeah.
It's like just his 3 favorite
Peter-
people other than Morgan, but of course she wasn't gonna be there because he's not stupid.
Peter, like, broke my heart into a million
It was like there was
pieces.
too many parallels between that and the last movie.
That, like, shattered my heart into 1,000 pieces. Like, I saw posts, like, before Endgame that were like, so, like, Tony had to watch, like, Peter die in Infinity War, so, like, what if in the next movie they make Peter watch Tony die? And I was like, they better not, and they did. They did,
and he was just sitting there, and he was like, it's okay, we won, you did it, and then, like, fucking Pepper was like, you can rest now, everything, we're gonna be okay, and then he fucking dies. Fuck.
There was still, like, a part of me that was like, maybe they have all this, like, you know, good technology. Maybe they could save him.
I know,
like,
I was expecting...
I knew they wouldn't.
I knew
but
they
I was
wouldn't.
like, they could.
I knew they wouldn't, but
can't
I was, like,
try.
really hoping T'Challa would just roll up and be like, we can fix that.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, God. And then I saw it happening, and I was like, oh, it's happening. Oh, God, it's happening. And then, like, they pulled away... And they showed it at everybody else, and then they started, like, panning up his body, and I was like, don't show me his dead fucking face, I swear to God. And then they did, and I lost it on the spot.
And then
sobbing
I started
in the theater.
I was like, if I have to, I hope there's, like, enough of this movie left for me to pull myself together.
That's
Because I don't want to, like, walk out of this theater, like, with, like, ugly crying, you know? Because, like, my first thought was actually, it's kind of funny, was, like, I don't want to, like, be responsible for, like, filling people going, like, to, like, another theater with, like, that much dread. Like, I don't want people, you know, going, like, gonna see Avengers Endgame, seeing, like, 2 people, because I could hear you, like, crying next to me.
I was trying to be silent, but I wanted to sob.
I heard you, like, quietly sobbing next to me. But I was like, I don't want to be, like, responsible, so maybe, like, go to see Avengers Endgame, and then they, like, go, and then they see 2 people walking out of another theater that was showing Avengers Endgame, just, like, ugly crying, and then just being like, oh, shit. Oh, no.
Fuck you, Marvel. I didn't sign up for Tony
You
to die,
didn't
you
have
uglies.
You didn't.
It was such a good end,
do
but also, fuck you.
I mean, it was, like, perfect in every way, but you didn't have to do it.
And I just saw it. And then they kind of, like, did, like, a cut, and then things were happening, and I was like, okay, I have time to calm down.
I can pull
and
myself
then there was,
together.
like, you know, a couple of scenes, and then something, I can't remember exactly what, like, the opening shot of this one scene was, but I was like, don't you dare make me watch Tony Stark's fucking funeral, you
I knew they were gonna. I was
heartless monsters, and
but
they
I was
did.
like starting to pull myself together, and then, you know, they did proof that Tony Stark has a heart, and I just broke down all over
Fuck
again.
you, dude. Fuck you so much.
You didn't have to do that.
I sat through all of the credits so that my family wouldn't see me ugly crying.
We knew there wasn't gonna be an end scene, but you didn't have to do that. You didn't.
Like, I was sort of okay, and then I saw his dead face, and then they made me watch his funeral, and I was not okay
I was, like, kind of
anymore.
weirded out, because even though I was crying, I was like, part of me is kind of, like, okay with this. Maybe it's because, like, I knew what was going to happen as soon as he and Doctor Strange made eye contact. But I was like...
I was crying, and then part
It's
of me was like, this is the ending he deserves, but then most of me was crying.
Yeah, I was like, part of me was like, this was, like, a good ending for him. Yeah, so earlier I said that I Am Iron Man was the last callback I was expecting. Now that was proof that Tony Stark has a heart. That, like, almost made me, like, cry. I didn't even remember that happened either. Part of me, like, it almost, like, it made me so soft when it did happen. In, like, what fucking movie was it?
Iron Man
2, Iron Man 3, something like
how
that.
could anyone say, if it did happen in Iron Man 2, how could anyone say Iron Man 2 was bad? I think it was, because that was when he was having a bunch of heart troubles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care what the rest of that movie was. The rest of that movie was good, by the way. But I didn't care what the rest of it was. That was enough to redeem it. And then I started crying.
I'm crying
again.
right now.
You didn't have to do
I wish
it.
I was lying.
You didn't have. Glad you didn't, but you didn't have to do it.
God.
But now.
Steve being old was weird.
Yeah, that was kind of moving right along.
Zooming past that, so I'm not crying until the end of this. One, I wanted to say that the team up between Tony and Steve and Thor in the final fight, always iconic. We always stand the 3 strongest Avengers. And then, God, just fucking...
So, like, Steve went back in time to Eternal the Stones to where they were, so, like, they could close up all those alternate timelines. But he, like, stayed there. And, like, stayed with Peggy.
Yeah, I guess.
Which was, like, they kind of hinted at that earlier in the movie.
Because he, like, saw Peggy when he was in the past and was like, all around me are familiar faces.
And I was like, I'm glad he's happy. And, like, a lot of people talking about, like, it's been a while since I've seen the first Captain America, but he was kind of like, after the war, we'll have, like, a dance, you know? And then, like, they never got to do that.
Yeah.
Because, like, then he was, like, in ice, and then she was old, and then...
then she was dead.
But they got to have their dance, which was cute, but also I was a little disappointed, because part of me was like, well, you know, I knew everyone was like, they're either gonna kill Steve or Tony, and everyone was right, they did kill one of them. And I was like, well, at least, even though I'm so sad that Tony died, at least
no one else did other than Natasha.
At least, you know, Steve can now go and, like, you know, be superhero buds with Bucky like they've been trying to do since 1945, and, like, everything keeps happening to them. You know, they can have their happy ending, and then he just sort of fucked off back to 1945. I was like, well, what about Bucky?
Bucky didn't even, like, he was like, ah, yes, my best friend. He's like, I'd be pissed, dude. I'd be like, bah, I just came back to life. I mean...
I was dead, and then I was brainwashed, and then I was dead, and now I'm alive and not brainwashed, and you're like, yeah, Becky.
I'm with you till the end of the line, my ass.
A lot of people think that maybe Steve, like, told Bucky that was what he was gonna do, which is why Bucky was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But like, I'm offended.
The closing shot where he got that dance with Peggy was really nice, and then they had that old-timey music kind of going into the thing.
Yeah.
But I have some questions. Was he Captain America when he was with Peggy? Did he still go out and do, like, vigilante justice? Probably. Did he only come back after Peggy died?
That's true.
Or did he delete... I don't think he would have left her.
No.
And he seemed kind of sad.
No.
But, like, not as sad as he was when she died the first time, which makes sense because he actually got to, like, spend time with this woman that he loved, you know?
Yeah. And, also, but on a, like, lighter note, Sam's Captain America now.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see him. I really hope in the TV show, him and Bucky, like, he's Captain America. I know that I think it's called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but they might be calling it that just so they don't spoil, like, a major thing that happens.
You could also just be, like, Captain America, like, Falcon, like, crossover. Like, that's the thing. Is he gonna keep the wings? Is he just gonna be flying Captain America? Because I'm not
just gonna be Falcon outfit, but just with the shield?
Is he gonna, like, paint the rest of it? Is he gonna get, like, a new outfit that, like, matches the, like, red, white, and blue theme? Like, I wanna know, like, because, like, flying Captain America sounds pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I'm so excited because, you know, if Steve's gonna flake out on Bucky, at least they've got Sam, because I think they're gonna...
really passive.
I think they're like bros, though. Like, you know they are. They're like, they hate each other, but they're bros.
Definitely, like, now they're, like, buds. But,
Yeah.
like, I hope they still keep, like, that kind of passive-aggressive, like, attitude towards each other, but in, like, just, like, not a, I actually hate you way, just in, like, a we're friends, so fuck off kind of way.
Like, the friends that are dicks to each other. I love that dynamic so much.
I hope they keep that. This is
Yeah.
a long ass.
We're almost done. We're almost done. The only thing that I have left to talk about is the end credits.
Well,
because
I think we mentioned this
fuck
before,
you.
but Thor is now with the Guardians.
Yeah,
where he belongs.
it felt like everything felt really complete and good.
It felt like a good ending for
Everything
all of
came
them.
kind of like, everyone's arcs kind of came to a close, or came to a way where it's like they can still keep going, but, like, you know, like, there was closure for everybody. The funeral, like, had literally every person that's ever met Tony fucking Stark. Fucking Harley was there. Which, like, fuck you, you know?
Kayla was there, even though she probably talked to him, like, 0 times, I think.
Yeah, that was the thing, though, in the, I mean, she saved his ass in the beginning when he was, like, dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They
true. But she was, like,
spoke-
outside the spaceship, though.
That's true. But, like...
But she was probably just like, he just saved the whole goddamn universe.
And then Hank Pym was there, even though he notoriously hated the Starks, but he was like respect for Tony.
They were all just there.
He was like fuck Howard lives, but like Tony's cool.
But so and like the arcs were all really well completed. Like Black Widow, Natasha, her whole thing was like in the first Avengers, which it's been a while since you've seen that movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw part of it because Mom was like watching it because they were playing it on TV.
Yeah, I saw part of it too, but
and
not
like
that
she
much.
mentioned like in the first movie that like one of her main motivation for being a superhero is that she wanted to get the red off her ledger.
Yeah.
Is what she said because she used to be assassin.
Yeah.
So like all she ever wanted to do is like kind of like to make up for that,
Mhm.
and she got to do that by sacrificing herself. Which this is the thing that makes her like even more heroic for sacrificing herself was that it was just for like a chance.
Yeah.
To undo it. Like, you know, like, it wasn't even like, this is definitely going to work. It was like, for just to get, like, a chance at them.
Mhm.
Because, like, at that point, there's still a million things that could have gone wrong.
Yeah. She's
But-
truly great.
So she
then
got
Tony-
to do that. Hawkeye just got to go back to his family.
That's
Didn't
kind of
live-
like what his arc was.
retire. That's all he
Yeah.
wanted.
That's
got
all he wanted.
That's all he ever
Yeah,
wanted.
and then, you know, like, Bruce came to terms with the Hulk
And
and,
finally,
you know, like, made peace.
finally got to, they kind of like finally became one, not the way anyone expected or maybe wanted.
It's like Valkyrie was like, I kind of liked either version of you better, and I was like, yeah, he looks kind of horrible.
I was expecting like, you know, the thing where he finally like gets control of the Hulk and becomes like at peace was, you know, more of like a metaphorical thing where he could like either just like turn into it at will, so if he needs super strength he can, and like can control the Hulk more
Yeah.
when he's in Hulk mode. Instead he just fused together with just Sweelie with Dick. He's just a giant green monster wearing a sweater vest.
I kind of love it, but I kind of hate it.
Yeah, but either way, he got to his arc. Thor just kind of said, like, fuck it.
Thor spent his whole arc was basically trying to be what he was always told he was supposed to be, and, you know, now he's doing what he wants to do, and he's worthy, and he's a good and selfless person, but, like, he recognized that being a king is not what he's meant to do, and now he's off
Which
to
makes
go
so
find
much
his
sense.
new
Apparently
thing.
some people were like, but in, like, Ragnarok, he finally, like, you know, be able to become the king. But it's like, yeah, but, like, that was... It's, like, you know, because, like, he was supposed to be king of Asgard for a while, like, at least the Prince of Asgard. He was hardly over there. He's always, like, off with the Avengers, off doing something. So it's, like, clearly that's what he was always meant to do.
He always, like, wanted to, like, go out and do
He wanted
adventurous things.
He wanted to take care of, like, you know, Asgard and his people, but he, like, also wanted to take care of the rest of the universe, too. So then he
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna make Valkyrie. Is that just her name? Isn't that her rank?
That's her rank, but they never gave her a name, so everyone just calls her either Valkyrie or the Valkyrie.
Alright, so he's like, Valkyrie can be your queen. Or actually, he said king, so Valkyrie can be your king. Because the fucking gender terms, I guess.
I mean, we support it.
Yeah, so, and then, because, you know, she's competent and not a wreck like me, and then I'll go have fun with space pirates.
Yeah, it's what he deserves. And then Steve got to, you know, he always wants to do the right thing. He wants to save people and help people, and he got to do that, and he also got to live the life that he never got to have.
Yeah, he got to do something for himself for once in a fucking
Yeah.
blue moon.
And then Tony went from being this narcissistic, selfish, like, weapons dealer to being Earth's greatest defender, to being the savior of the whole fucking universe, who had a family that he loved, and, you know, him and Pepper were always like a thing but not a thing, and he finally got to marry her and have a child and, you know, do everything right that his dad did wrong, and he's come so far, and I love him so much.
You love him 3,000?
I do!
That's like the new thing now. The new thing when you want to make people sad.
It used to be I don't want to go, and now it's gonna be I love you 3,000. Because, I mean, just, like, fuck me, I guess. Just ruin me on the
spot. This is
spot.
a new, like, nerdy way to say you love someone.
Garbage. And then someone also pointed out that it's kind of cute, because, like, Morgan's obviously really smart.
Yeah.
Because she's Tony Stark's fucking daughter. But, like, he said, I love you a ton, and then she goes, I love you 3,000, which is more than a ton.
Yeah.
It's cute. So then the end credits. I knew what they were doing as soon as they started off with the minor characters. I knew they were gonna do something with, like, the main six to be like, this was their thing, and a lot has changed, but they're the OGs.
Yeah.
And then they just had this thing where they had, like, little montages with, like, the graphics and, like,
for,
their
like, all the
signatures and, like, all the movies and, like,
then,
their,
yeah,
like,
they had, like,
actors'
the silhouette
signatures.
of, like, a picture of the character, and then they had, like, their name and then the actor's signature. It was really good.
So good. So good.
It was so cool.
And then the last one with Robert Downey Jr., they made it, like, they had it right when there was a swell in the Avengers theme, and, like, everyone was, like, you could tell that everyone was, like, losing their garbage. Somebody took a recording of a movie theater, and when, like, Tony Stark's thing started, like, there was, like, a standing ovation. Everyone jumped out of their chairs and was, like, screaming, and I was like, eh!
Anyway, while fighting back the tears, I found some solace in, like, judging how legible everyone's signature was. That was a fun activity.
It was just...
Because some of them were like, yeah, that looks
so
like
fucking
words.
much.
And some of them were like, lies.
Yes, and it was just such a good, like, tribute, and, like, the one for Iron Man was just seemed, like, so much more important, because it's like, he's the one that made all of this possible. Nobody gave a shit about any of these characters.
No one
and
cared.
Iron Man
Avengers was just like a knockoff Justice League.
And now Justice League is knockoff Avengers, and it's like, if it wasn't for Robert Downey Jr., if it wasn't for Iron Man, none of this would have happened, and I love him so much. And then just, like, we watched through the whole credits, because we didn't believe that there wasn't going to be the
And
end
also,
scene.
I honestly didn't care, because
I was like, this is the last Avengers movie, I'm watching the whole fucking thing, and then at the very end...
For a second, I thought maybe they had tricked us, and it was going to be an end credit scene, because they started playing, like, a sound.
But no, it was a black, and then it faded in the Marvel logo, and there was the sound of Tony Stark making the fucking Iron Man suit in the cave in the first Iron Man, and I, like, almost started crying all over again, and I was like, no, you can't.
I didn't realize
you don't have
what
any
that
other,
was.
you don't have another chance to get yourself back together.
I, like, didn't realize what that was until you told me, and then I was like, ah. And I've seen some people complaining, because, like, you know, Tony Stark got all this, like, fanfare and stuff, and Natasha's death was kind of, like, in the middle, but it's like, well, listen, man. She got plenty of, like, sadness. She got...
No shade towards Natasha, but, like, Iron Man was the one that started this. He is the guy.
Yeah, like, Natasha's great, and I feel like she got a pretty suitable amount of, like, sadness. Mm-hmm. You know?
I did see somebody who was just, like, kind of shitty that Tony Stark got a whole ass funeral, and Natasha just got Hulk throwing a bench into a lake. And I was like, that's kind of fair.
But it's also
they had
kind of
bigger
like
things on their mind.
Yeah, it was
not
like...
bigger things, but it wasn't like they had time to give her a funeral.
Yeah, it was kind of like... Well, that's a kind of an oversimplification of that scene because they were all like, because that was just them all being distraught that she was dead, and also from both a character perspective, they didn't have time, and from a movie perspective, she died in like the middle.
Yeah, they
when
can't
the pacing was like picking up. Tony died at the end.
You can't
when the pacing's slowing down.
You can't just grind the movie to a halt in like the middle of the second act for a funeral, and
I mean,
maybe
you could have put one at the end.
Yeah, like maybe have like a dual funeral with her and Tony, but I mean, like maybe they just didn't think about it.
Maybe,
basically, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Movie, like a solo movie, finally after
Good.
they kill her.
They're gonna pull a fucking domino squad on us. How dare they? Get us all attached to them after they die. But yeah, basically, this was the greatest movie I've ever seen in theaters. It's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Apparently it does seem to exist. Has this always existed? No, it has not.
What's happening?
I was like, it has an IMDb page, and I was like, has this like existed? Is it just like the Hulk movie and no one like cared about it? But no, the plot is unknown at this time. So,
well, I'm hyped to get extra sad about Natasha being fucking
so they're giving her
sniped.
a whole ass other movie, so like...
At least we get to see her again, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, this was about as long as I thought it was gonna be, almost as long as the goddamn movie itself. That was the greatest cinematic experience of my life, and I cried about Tony Stark for like the sixth time during this video, so.
Can't wait to have like a movie marathon at some point. We can watch all of the Marvel movies in order.
I don't even think I've seen all of them.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Hulk one.
We haven't seen the Hulk one. We've seen all the other ones, not in a while, some of them, but like I think I've seen every other movie except the Hulk movie, which, you can technically watch it, but also like it's not like people like really expect you to, considering that Mark Ruffalo didn't even play the Hulk in that movie.
I think it's still technically like his canon.
It's still technically part of the series, but it's like half part of the series.
Anyway,
Endgame
was a ride.
It existed. I exist. Vaguely speaking, I'm dead on the floor.
Dead. We survived, but we're dead.
Yeah. I don't know how to end this. I love you, Tony Stark.